So do you know your signs and signatures for when you've got low resilience? So just to let you know, mine, I know that my resilience is off kilter and I'm in a bad place when I can't listen to music. And I'll explain that to you now. So when our resilience is low, we tend to have signs and signatures that tell us and the world that we are not on our A game and that we're out of kilter. And they tend to ladder up, they ratchet up. Often we don't actually notice when we're on the first step of the ladder. We might not even notice till we're on the fourth step of the ladder. So for example, with me, step one is I am really struggling to concentrate on things. And it can be things I love doing. So it could be that I've got something on Netflix and I'm not really paying attention, or, you know, I just can't get on my A game. People are talking to me, maybe even clients. I'm not quite zoned in as much as I usually am. I'm usually far more zoned in, which is a bit difficult to just get right on there. The second clue for me is I start getting quite sensitive. I get really sensitive. I've often been the sort of person that struggles with the news and things like that, especially at the moment when there's a lot going on. But I start becoming like really mega sensitive. Kids' films are making me cry, you know, adverts are getting me in the feelies, you know, anything like that. I start getting a bit sensitive. My third sign is I start getting paranoid. I start worrying that people are talking about me, that people are judging me, that people don't like me, people write comments on my posts. I think there's a hidden agenda or there's a dig, that sort of thing, whereas usually I wouldn't care. And then my fourth sign, my main one, is that I cannot stand listening to music or reading a book. Now for me, that's a massive deal because I'm a literature geek and a massive muso. So if I can't stand putting my headphones in, if I go for a walk and I just cannot get in gear and do not want to listen to music, I know I've got a major problem and my resilience is at an all-time low. And that's the moment where there is complete correlation for me between not being able to listen to music, not having my headphones in, and say my business not working or something like that. There's a huge correlation there. And often what happens is also that's the point I notice. So I say, oh, I just can't be bothered to put any music on. I don't fancy anything in my playlist and I don't want to listen to anything new. And then I think, oh, hang on a minute. I did find myself getting really paranoid the other day when someone said this about that. And I thought, well, maybe they're out to get me or they don't like me. And that doesn't usually bother me. And actually there was that Andrex puppy advert and it had me in tears for absolutely no reason whatsoever. And then thinking about it, I did also watch that documentary on mass murderers in America, which you do when you're trying to calm down. Yeah, that's normal stuff. And I couldn't concentrate and I spent the whole time browsing through Instagram or LinkedIn. So there are clues. You have signatures and you have signs, and they tend to ladder up, they ratchet up. And we're all different. This is part of your resilience toolkit. Having an idea of what those are and where they sit is really useful for you. But it's also really useful in relationships, and it's also really useful in terms of leadership. Because if you know the signs and signatures of people around you, and they'll all be unique, if you know those, you can spot when somebody else is struggling, when their resilience is off, when their workload's not at its most efficient, when it's going to start impacting the team or impacting your relationship or impacting the kids, etc, etc, etc. And sometimes, quite often actually, you will notice before they do, and then you can provide the service that they need, whether that's supporting them in their workload or just telling someone you love them. So having an idea of what your signs and signatures are is really, really useful when it comes to adding to your toolkit to protect yourself in your low resilience days. So hopefully that's useful for you. Have a think. Do you know what your signs and signatures are? Have a chat with people around you that know you well. Ask them what they think your signs and signatures are. See if you can compile a bit of a list. You've got a good idea of what those indicators are and whereabouts on the ladder they are. What's your starting point? What's your breaking point? What's the point where you're just like, do you know what? I just need to spend the day in bed. Have a good idea of what that ladder looks like. If you're not sure, give me a shout. We'll have a chat. I'll help you figure out what yours are. And then we can work on your toolkit and what to do when you find yourself on those days. Okay, kids, hope you're good. Snippy out.